Welcome to another segment of Room 43. What we'll be doing in this segment is we'll be looking at the subtraction of integers, positive and negative numbers. We're going to be looking at Rule 5 for the subtraction of integers, and I like to employ a little technique I call KFC. Not Kentucky Fried Chicken, but when we say KFC, this is a little technique that some people find useful. For example, if I have 7 positive and I am subtracting negative 10. So if I have 7 positive and I am subtracting negative 10, some people find that a little daunting. So what we're going to do is employ our strategy of KFC. And in KFC, what that stands for is keep the first term. We're going to flip the operation to its inverse, and we are going to change the second term to its opposite. Let's look at what that looks like in motion. We'll keep positive 7. I'm going to flip from subtraction to addition, and then I'm going to change negative 10 to positive 10. Now that I have used KFC, I have a problem that's a little easier, and I can apply the rules of addition to this problem. In this case, I have 7 plus 10, and I do have two numbers that have the same sign. So I can use same sign sum and just say that the sum is 17. The same sign being positive gives me the positive. So that's what it looks like. Same sign sum being the rule of addition to help me solve that problem. Now that's in the case where I start out with a positive and a negative. What would have happened, for example, if I had had negative 5 minus positive 6? That can look a little confusing. Negative 5 minus positive 6. I'll go back to my KFC technique because it's a little bit easier to keep a negative, flip the sign to addition, and then when I change here the positive 6 to negative 6, what I've created is again an addition problem that has two negative numbers. Once again, same sign sum. I find the sum of the two numbers, which is 11, and I adopt the same sign, which in this case was negative. If I want to use the number line to help me conceptualize it, starting at 0, I look at the first event, which is minus 5 or negative 5. So I start with a 0, and I'm going to go 5 in the negative direction. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 takes me to negative 5. And then I go 6 in the negative direction additionally. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So from negative 5, negative 6, negative 7, negative 8, negative 9, negative 10, negative 11. That point is negative 11. So you can see that negative 5 plus negative 6 equals a total of negative 11. So sometimes that number line is a good way of checking your answer. So again, I do have the possibility that I might have a number such as 3, and I need to subtract, let's just say I need to subtract 16, and even though it's a positive number, it looks a little goofy here and it's hard to think about. But if I do use my KFC, knowing that I'm subtracting integers, I can go ahead then and make this into positive 3, flip the sign to addition, and then I have positive 3 plus, I'm going to change positive 16 to negative 16. So I'm going to add the opposite. And in this case, then, when I do look at my terms, I have a positive number and a negative number. So now going back to the rules of addition, I have to remember those are different signs. I'm going to find the difference. The difference between 3 and 16 is, of course, 13. Now, which sign do I use? Do I use the positive or do I use the negative? The question I ask myself is, which number has the larger absolute value? Correct. Which number has the larger absolute value? And in this case, the negative number has a larger absolute value. Therefore, my answer is going to be negative. So in this problem, 3 minus 16, the answer is negative 13. And again, you could use the number line to show that and look at it with the number line. I could also have the example here where I have maybe a whole lot of crazy looking numbers such as negative 6 minus negative 10. And this just looks really awful to try to solve like that, but using KFC, I make this into a recognizable addition problem. I keep negative 6, I flip the sign to addition, and I'm going to add the opposite, which is going to be not negative 10, but it'll be positive 10. So I've changed negative 10 to positive 10, KFC. Take a look at my signs. What kind of signs do I have? Do I have the same sign, find the sum, or different signs, find the difference? Correct. Different signs, find the difference. If you said different difference, you are correct. I have different signs. I need to find the difference between 10 and 6. 10 minus 6 is 4. Now I need to figure out which sign do I use, the negative or the positive. So which number has the larger absolute value? Which is the greatest distance from 0, 6 units or 10 units? Well, clearly 10 units is farther away from 0, so that's going to have more strength. So my answer will be positive 4. I can see the effects again on a number line. If I'm at negative 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Negative direction, positive direction. If my second event is that I move in the positive direction 10 units, I'll use green to represent that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to 0, 7, 8, 9, 10. That takes me to positive 4. So that's how we use KFC, rule number 5 in the subtraction of integers, to help us make the subtraction of integers more tolerable. Thank you for another episode of Room 43.